I have a different kind of episode for your ear holes today. I've asked a couple of the Triathlon Nutrition Academy members to jump on and have a chat with me. You'll hear from Jill. She's a female voice with an American accent. She's based all the way over in Texas, USA. Lewis, despite his accent, he's based here in Brisbane, Australia. And a second male voice who would prefer to remain anonymous but is still a legend nonetheless. They each have their own unique story about how they came to join us inside the Triathlon Nutrition Academy program and their own unique learnings along the way too. And I would love to share their stories with you. Welcome to the Triathlon Nutrition Academy podcast, the show designed to serve you up evidence-based sports nutrition advice from the experts. Hi, I'm your host Taryn, accredited practicing dietitian, advanced sports dietitian, and founder of Dietitian Approved. Listen as I break down the latest evidence to give you practical, easy to digest strategies to train hard, recover faster, and perform at your best. You have so much potential, and I want to help you unlock that with the power of nutrition. Let's get into it. Welcome to the podcast, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's get straight into it. And I want to ask you all, what made you want to join the Triathlon Nutrition Academy program?
Well, I've been doing triathlon for a little while and I've been wanting to move up in distance. I've only done sprints before, but I was kind of stagnant in my training. I wasn't getting any better. I had joined a vegan academy before and it was a lot of money. And it didn't work out very well. It seemed like they were more interested in my before and after photo than helping me in my performance for triathlon. They actually told me I would not lose weight if I continued my training because I had to eat too much. So there was a big disconnect there because I wasn't looking to lose weight, but perform better in my training and for future races. And they were more focused on the weight loss aspect of nutrition.
There were two main factors that actually make me want to join the TNA. So the first one, and most importantly, was I had a drive to learn more about nutrition. And I wanted to know a lot of the whys behind a lot of the nutritional facts or diets that I was reading out there. There was so much nutritional data and information. It's difficult without being an expert to know where to start. And sometimes, it's like you start following a particular rabbit hole and that takes you to a place where you did not want to be, right? And it's just a waste of time. I think that there's so much disinformation out there, what to do and what not to do.
I was a pretty lost soul looking for different answers on things. So I would come into triathlon quite late in my life. I've got a few kilos that I want to lose, but I also want to learn how to fuel my body and train right. There's a lot of really conflicting messages out there from people that train and think they know stuff, from friends that have advice for you, to, your crazy old uncle that says that you should drink 2 litres of lemons before you go out and do something. Everyone's got an opinion. And what I thought was the best thing to do was get an opinion of someone that knew what they were talking about. For me, it was how do I lose weight and perform better, knowing that food was a big part of that.
It's so interesting that you all landed in the same place, coming from different places. So next question, did you have any hesitations about joining the program?
I did, lots. The first one was the money. Triathlon is expensive. It's a hobby, but it's a really expensive hobby. Between bike races and Ironman is not the cheapest races anymore. Do I really need to spend this much money in nutrition? Do I really need it? Will I be better putting that money somewhere else? Should I make my bike more aerodynamic, right? Investment is an understatement. It's a must. If you're going to get into triathlon, it is something that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to do some investment in your nutrition. There's no way around it. Spend a little bit more, get it right since the beginning, get the knowledge since the beginning, actually get it right all the way through. So I think that the money is definitely well invested. You want to be a triathlete and you know that you had to buy a bike. I think that's how you should see this. It's part of being a triathlete. There's no question in that regard. So yes, I think that the money was well spent. It's definitely better than getting a new bike.
I absolutely had lots of hesitations about joining this program. So I was a bit worried that the program might be not for me in terms of I wasn't a good enough athlete to be able to do it. And I thought that the program might not understand the different complexities of what I was trying to do, which was, as I said, the weight loss and the performance. I'm a pretty special little unicorn with specific training needs and specific wants. And if this was a program designed at covering all the bases, then does that mean my specific bases weren't going to be covered? And that's just simply wasn't the case. The integration of the program just meant that not only were the bases that I wanted covered were covered, bases I didn't know existed were uncovered and then covered. So that was really good. And the other thing for me was, as someone that's quite new to triathlons, I thought that maybe the program wasn't for me. I wasn't experienced enough to be able to understand the material. But again, that wasn't the case. And in fact, if you're beginning in triathlon, this is your number one ticket to getting faster than the people training next to you, because they won't be doing this and you will be doing it better. Don't tell anybody.
I found you online. I found your profile interesting because you were based in Brisbane. You were someone that actually knew about triathlon yourself. You had done it yourself and also had all the certifications. This is definitely not a one thing fits all. You're teaching us what we have to do for ourselves. And actually, that is even more valuable. It was not about me going and presenting you who I am. It was you giving me the tools to actually define what is better for me from my own knowledge of who I am. If I don't have an understanding of why am I doing it, I won't be able to do this in the long term, right? I'm always going to be there depending on you. So this course has proven to me that I learned something for the rest of my life. So that took me to the next step.
So I was really skeptical and I was hesitant because I was worried about gaining weight. I actually measured myself today with tape and I've lost a lot of inches. And I've maintained the weight, so I'm tightening up and eating more, like more than I ever thought possible. It's still a struggle. For my entire life, I've watched what I eat, don't gain weight. So I still am hesitant, but when I see the results from actually eating and putting those carbs in, it's working. Before the Triathlon Nutrition Academy, I was running out of gas all the time in my workouts. On my really long workouts, I would, be on the couch the rest of the day. Now I have more energy. I've improved my running mile by about 2 minutes. I've seen a lot of improvement because I have more power. I have more energy.
I'm so glad you feel that way, Jill. I was a little bit worried about you in the beginning, to be honest, but I think we've fixed the problem pretty quickly, which is awesome. Are you a triathlete sick of fumbling around in the dark with your nutrition? Is nutrition the missing link in helping you reach your goals? And do you want to maximize your training efforts and level up your performance? Of course you do. Come and join me for free at Fuel School. It's a free 3-day live and online nutrition training week. And I've designed it to give you the nutritional edge in 2024 and lay the foundation of your day-to-day fueling and race nutrition. It's on the 14th to the 16th of January, 9 a.m. Brisbane time, so Australian Eastern Standard Time every day, which is 3 p.m. PST, 5 p.m. CST and 6 p.m. EST on the 13th to the 15th of January. To register, head to fuel.school. Yep, www.fuel.school. Whether you're a seasoned triathlete or just starting your nutrition journey, this free event is your opportunity to learn from an advanced sports dietitian and triathlon nutrition specialist and transform the way you approach your nutrition for 2024. Fuel.school. It's free. I'll see you there. So for all of you, what's been the biggest change or perhaps the best thing that you've learned so far?
What really opened my eyes on how bad I was is the recovery one. It's so important. It's like, I know that everything else is very important, but I found that understanding what are the 4 hours of recovery and when to actually start getting my nutrition intakes to actually take more advantage of the hormones and enzymes when they're at their best. Learning all that and putting it into practice, it has been amazing. I just find that if I get it right, I feel so good after, and I just feel that I can keep going, not only with my day, but also with whatever training I have to do next, or I'm ready for the next day.
I was struggling with everything. I was a typical tired triathlete. I was tired all the time. I would fast and restrict, and then I would demolish the fridge. I never really knew it was appropriate to eat, and it was all vague in how I thought about it. So now I know what to eat. I know when to eat. By getting my nutrition right at the start of the day and the week means that I'm more likely to control it by the end of it. Making sure I have a really good recovery breakfast and pre-nutrition means that I don't go and eat 3 bags of snakes at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I have more energy, ready to go. I don't feel lethargic. I don't feel like I have to have a nap after a really big feed anymore. It's just all working. My physical transformation has been pretty incredible. I think I've dropped a couple of kilos already, and I've definitely started to put a bit of muscle back on by doing my strength work. I've definitely taken about a minute off my run time off a K, and through the cycle, what I've noticed is I'm not dying at the end of those rides. So what I would do before in the cycle is I would fast, have coffee into it. I'd ride for 2 hours and then start to run out of energy and then have half a Mars bar and sort of come home and my back was cramping by the end of it. Now I have some fuel, and then by the end of the ride, I'm happy to get off and do a full day's worth of work. I would have done 90% of my sessions fasted before, and I thought that was the best way to lose some weight. By fueling meant that I'm actually performing harder throughout the sessions and I'm getting those gains at the back of them. So fueling early makes me train harder, and training harder gets me all of the different things that I want to try and achieve in my training program. That's why I'm a faster triathlete than I was 8 weeks ago.
The best thing I've learned is that I need to eat for performance. You can't get by just barely eating and trying to do triathlon training. You're just not going to feel good. Your training is not going to be good. Your racing is not going to be good. You have to eat. And that's my biggest takeaway, because I always limited what I ate before.
You're not alone in that. A lot of people come into triathlon with a dieting mentality, and it's shifting that mindset to eating and fueling for more of a performance than constantly scaling back for weight loss.
Yes, and I think that's what sets your program apart from all the others, because everyone else is focused on weight loss, fat loss. You're focused on how can you perform your best.
Yeah, and as a result, dropping some body fat in the process without actually trying to do that as the first and foremost goal.
Yes, and that has been a very pleasant surprise.
What have you got out of the program that you just weren't expecting?
The thing that I got out of this program that I wasn't expecting is how fast things started getting better for me, how much my training improved just from eating the right things and the amount that I needed to eat. The performance has been exponentially better.
So you weren't expecting changes to happen so quick?
No, not at all. I thought it would be slow, or, I would just learn a couple of things and over time it would benefit me, but it's benefited me right away.
I felt that I was not on my own. And I think that what I learned the most is when people actually say what they are doing wrong rather than what they're doing right. They're doing some of the same mistakes that I'm doing. So I'm not the only one. And they start talking about how to get out of it. Oh, okay, so that's what you have tried. So it makes me feel more confident and inspired on trying again, and try something else. We all have that similar mindset, and we are so similar that when we get together, we have so much to share.
That's one of the things that so many people say they love the most about the program is connecting with others and the community that we've got inside. It's been one of my greatest joys to see you all connect with each other as well, all around the world. It's so cool. So for each of you, do you have any advice for someone that's thinking about joining us inside the Triathlon Nutrition Academy?
Yeah, my advice is do it. This is the whole package. Can't stress enough about how the integration of the material and the delivery and working with other people just makes it, easily the best money I've spent on triathlon, and that includes my bike, because one day I'll have to replace my bike, but I'll always have this info, so it's great. The reason why I was really excited to get in part of this program was that I knew that every dollar I invested into it, I was buying 20 years worth of experience to make it happen in the first place, and that was just some time I didn't have to put into doing it myself. It's more important than the bike, because the bike will break and you'll want to replace it at some stage, whereas your body will work one way for its entire life. It'll adapt and do different things, but your body is still your body and it still feels the same way, and you might be able to replace your rims or replace your tyres, but your knee breaks, then you're in a bit of trouble.
My advice would be to think about what you want to get out of your training, out of your racing, and what you need help with. If you're running out of gas, if you're tired, I would say definitely do it. It's going to help you exponentially. It's easier to look up a physical training plan online than it is to get proper nutrition advice online. So if you're coming down to a training coach or a nutrition coach, I would say nutrition coach is probably better for you, just because it's easier to figure it out on your own with the training.
My advice is don't see nutrition as a separate thing that you have to do as a triathlete. It is actually part of being a triathlete. Life is too short and you cannot wing it all the time. If you are not getting your nutrition right, you're just wasting precious time. Motivation is great, but if you're just motivated and you have no knowledge whatsoever behind it, you're going to get injuries and you might have some long-term issues. So life is too short. Get it right.
Life is too short. I agree. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me on the podcast. I know it's definitely a bit of a deep end dive for all of you to jump on and talk to me about your experiences inside the Triathlon Nutrition Academy. It's actually been really eye-opening for me to talk to you about those things. Kind of shows me how well I'm doing, all the areas that I need to improve on too. So thank you so much. And if you're listening and you want to join in and come and meet these three legends, doors are open from April 17th to April 24th. So then is your opportunity to come on inside the Triathlon Nutrition Academy and start to learn exactly what you need to be eating as a triathlete, to not train for one discipline, but to train for 3 different sports. It's not easy, but with the right frameworks and the structure and having some knowledge and education under your belt, you can start to feel some of the benefits that these guys have experienced after only being inside the program for less than 12 weeks. So if you want to come and join us, make sure you go to dietitianapproved.com/academy, because doors are only open for 8 short days and then they're closed again until August. So stop thinking, start doing, and get amongst it. Thanks for joining me for this episode of the Triathlon Nutrition Academy podcast. I would love to hear from you. If you have any questions or want to share with me what you've learnt, email me at podcast@dietitianapproved.com. You could also spread the word by leaving me a review and taking a screenshot of you listening to the show. Don't forget to tag me on social media at dietitian.approved so I can give you a shout out too. If you want to learn more about what we do, head to dietitianapproved.com. And if you want to learn more about the Triathlon Nutrition Academy program, head to dietitianapproved.com/academy. Thanks for joining me, and I look forward to helping you smash it in the 4th leg. Nutrition!